Hi everyone. This week's discussion was very interesting to me because of the topics raised in the chapter. I found myself researching other articles and talking to student affairs about professional ethics. As a new or seasoned administrator, there's always situations that are going to arise questioning your ethics. In the chapter, the author states that as a new administrator, you have to develop your own professional identity and adjust to the daily workload and stress that you can give yourself time to think through every situation and where your ethics would not be compromised. One area in chapter 3 was the discussion of culture and how it can be very powerful in a college. The authors talked about how there were 4 strategies of professional identity development, being the assimilation, separation, marginalization, and integration. It really made me think about what am I as far as when I'm dealing with situations. I think that I'm more of a integration where I try to keep my own personal feelings in there, but of course you have to look at the professional side of something, because if not, you can find yourself doing things such as bending the rules, which you cannot do. And when you're in a situation with a student, the student sometimes can make you want to do that just because you care so much about them and you want to see them succeed. So you always have to try to put yourself and separate everything, and so you can slowly work out so that you're not compromising anything. Every higher ed administrator finds themselves having to decide which of the 4 strategies they follow in a situation, and I think that there are times when it can be a combination of them. The American College Personnel Association Statement of Ethical Differences outlines 4 standards to help student affairs professionals make ethic decisions, and those were the professional responsibility and competence, student learning and development, responsibility to the institution, and responsibility to society. Those all 4 play a big part of ethics. Dual relationships with students was another area that was interesting to me. It's very hard not to connect with a student while they're telling you their weaknesses, their home life, or even struggles with their coursework. You feel a sense of obligation to make sure they succeed, and in doing that, you have to make sure you don't cross the line. There's a mandatory training that my college does where we have to undergo a situation. It's a video where we have to interact and discuss and listen to situations where you have to be a mandated reporter. Everybody in a college, if you deal with students, you're automatically a mandated reporter. So one thing that I think helps is that if you're in that situation with a student and they start to tell you something that you feel like if they tell you you're going to have to tell someone ethically, you stop them right then and say, I just want you to know you're welcome to tell me something, but I'm a mandated reporter. So anything you do say by law, I do have to report if it's a situation like that. So I've actually had to use that a couple of times, and it has gotten me out of situations, because had that person have told me, then I would have ethically had to decide whether, where am I going to say something, and you just don't want to be put yourself in that situation. It does take you out of the potential situation of what the quote bending the rules or being in a quote unethical situation. A new professional must make decisions in the best interest of the student, not in the interest of themselves. So that's one thing that I took away from this chapter. When the other reading, that the article that we were supposed to look at was an analysis of ethical problems facing student affairs administrators, I really found that article interesting. I like the way they listed everything as far as, the respect for privacy, respect for personal choice, fairness. All of those were really good points and something to really keep handy so that you can use that as reference points. But I think the overall feel of this chapter is that whether someone's a new administrator or even a seasoned one, you will always be faced with challenges and have to find a healthy balance between themselves and their work. I'm seeing that right now in academic affairs. Like I said in my last video and discussion, I'm on the continuing ed side, so I don't see a lot. We deal with students and we deal with all these situations, but in the academic affairs side, it's even more important to know the ethics codes and making sure that you're following everything and making sure that you're talking with people to know what the college expects. You're advising them towards their goals in academic affairs. You're working with everyday situations on campus. Academic affairs works a lot with campus security, with campus life, with student life. So there's a lot more situations that you're having to deal with ethics. So this is my discussion for this week.